Students, to do this little sample, you need 2 pieces of fabric that you probably should cut them together so that they match up exactly. Okay, they need to be 3 inches across and 6 inches long. So it's a rectangle, 3 inches by 6 inches. Then you need to know the difference between the wrong side of the fabric and the right side of the fabric. The right side of the fabric is the side that is printed, and the wrong side is the back of the fabric. Okay, in sewing, we do most everything right sides together, and then we sew it and flip it. But on this one, I just want you to understand right sides together, so I'm gonna have you put right sides together, so you'll be working on the wrong side of the fabric. And once you get that done, you're gonna fold this rectangle like a hamburger bun and match it exactly like that. And then on the folded side, you're gonna crease it with your fingernails. This is called finger pressing and sewing. So you're gonna press it, finger press it, and that way you will have a little crease right down the middle of your fabric. We're gonna take this little crease and we're gonna lay it right underneath our sewing machine. And we are gonna line up the crease with this little indent in the sewing machine. Now, if you have a different kind of sewing machine, if you're sewing at home, there might be a split in the middle of your presser foot. All the Berninas at school and my Bernina at home have this little indent. So that's what we're lining it up with, in the very center of the presser foot. We are going to now sew a regular straight stitch. And we're going to back stitch. Back stitch is 3 to 5 stitches where you go forward and then back. And then we're going to follow this crease, keeping it lined up with that little indentation right there in the middle of the presser foot. And I'm following it. I can just see it on my, and when you get to the end of the fabric, you'll know you're at the end, because in the little window of the presser foot, you'll see the edge of the fabric in that little opening window. Then you're going to back up 3 to 5 stitches and come to the end and pull it off. You should have a nice little back stitch on both ends of the fabric. The back stitch acts as a knot so that the threads don't come undone on either end. Then you're going to clip your threads so that they're not a big mess. And you're going to do the next step. The next step, you're going to put a pin. Now you have 2 squares. You have 2 squares, and I need you to put a pin in one of the squares. I don't care which square it is. But then we're going to work. So that reminds you not to work in this square, because we're going to do something different there later. Now we're going to work in this square, and we're going to adjust the machine, and you're going to show me you can adjust the machine and measure on your sewing machine. So you are going to measure it at a 1/4 inch. Now on our Bernina, like the ones we have at school, a 1/4 inch seam is lining it up on this outside edge of the presser foot right here. On your machine at home, if you don't have a Bernina, you may have lines like this on the stitch plate, and then that's the line that you line it up on. But that's a little bit hard to do because we're going to work in the middle of the fabric because you can't see the lines. So line it up on the outside edge of your presser foot. Hopefully it's a 1/4 inch seam, because all machines are just a little different. And now you're going to adjust the stitch length. So the length of the stitch is how long between these straight stitches, how long those little stitches are. So we're going to adjust it. On my machine here, the stitch length is adjusted right here. On this knob at school, it's on your computer screen, and there's some little buttons up here at the top, and you adjust it and move the stitch length up like this. It's the bottom set of, there's 3 buttons, and it's the bottom set of buttons, and you're going to adjust the stitch length up. A regular stitch is a 2, you're going to adjust it up for this stitch to a 3. So then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do a little back stitch. We're going to follow this. Now, we watch this line and keep it lined up with the presser foot. You don't watch the needle. If you watch the needle, you'll sew crooked. You've got to watch it and keep it lined up right here, all the way down to the other end of the sample. When you get to the edge, you're going to do a little back stitch. And now you have the second one sewn, and now you have a perfect, beautiful, straight 1/4 inch seam. We're gonna repeat that 2 more times, increasing the stitch length every time to the next number.